nothing more American than this. The flyover over Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin, on a perfect September day, about 78 degrees. And we are set for kickoff between the Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints. Welcome, everyone. Ron Pitts, Terry Donahue, Drew Smith. The Green Bay Packers in their 88th season of professional football. And they're ready to get it going. The Cheeseheads are out in full effect. As we said, a perfect day for football. Don't look for any snow flurries yet. Maybe a chance of showers. Dave Rayner will kick it off for the Green Bay Packers. Back deep, Terrence Copper and Aaron Stecker. This will be Stecker. And Stecker, the local product from right here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, gets out to about the 28-yard line. Drew Brees, 27-year-old, $60 million man. That's what they gave him when he came here from free agency this year from the San Diego Chargers. Had shoulder surgery in the offseason, and a lot of people weren't quite sure whether he was going to get that arm strength back.
Well, they certainly looked good last week against the Cleveland Browns, Ronnie. And one thing that he did, he got the ball out very quickly. A lot of 3- and 5-step drops, didn't have a sack. That really helped him last week. We'll see this week against the Packers.
They'll go with McAllister, the long back in the backfield, to throw outside to Stecker, and Stecker is going to have a first down on the first play. The rest of the offense, the up front offensive linemen, Jamal Brown, first year at left tackle, 13 starts at right tackle last year. Jaree Evans, the rookie out of Bloomsburg, will start at the right guard position. Good matchup possibly between Bajabiamila and Jamal Brown. McAllister and Bush, you'll both see them today. Marcus Colston, the only rookie wide receiver to start last week in the NFL, had a good day, 4 catches for 49 yards. The end around to Bush, his first carry of the day, and Bush trying to get the corner and can't quite make it. Nice open field tackle there by Ahmad Carroll. The Packer defense gave up 26 points in that shutout last week against the Chicago Bears. Bajabiamila looking to get around the corner and make something happen. Barnett had a 95-yard interception return for a touchdown last year in the big win over the Saints. Woodson and Harris as good as they get at the corner position. Marquand Manuel just brought in free agency from the Seahawks. 2nd and 4. That's Horn in motion. Play action, looking deep. Ball is stripped, and it's recovered by the Packers. Aaron Campman had a sack last week against Chicago, comes up with a big play today here early.
Well, certainly Green Bay needed to get a pass rush. Aaron Campman, he comes from this side right there. You can watch him. He's the guy that puts the pressure. He's a blue-collar guy. He's always hustling on every play, and he just whacks that ball right out of Drew Brees' hands.
He beat Mark Campbell, the tight end, around the corner. Ball at about the 38-yard line. Brett Favre and the Packer offense. Don't be surprised if he goes play action and throws it up top. 8-man front for the Saints. They're thinking run. There's a throw. Driver, we talked about him in the open, and he'll have a couple. Driver has now caught a pass in 66 consecutive games, the 10th longest active streak in the NFL, and Brett Favre, really his security blanket. We talked about a young offensive core, especially inside at the 2 guards and at the receivers. He's had to rely on Driver a lot.
I'd keep going back to Driver all day long until they double cover him, bracket him, whatever they need to do to take him out of the game. If the Saints don't take him away, Brett Favre, there's your safety valve right there.
A pickup of 4 on the throw. 2nd and 6. Lee in motion. Rollout. Looking for the comeback. There it is. Double pump. Driver again. Donald Driver with a first down, playing in his 100th career game. The offensive line. You know about Clifton and Tauscher, but look inside carefully. They're in college. Tony Mull, rookies. They've been tested and will be tested more. The backs and receivers. William Henderson back into the mix. Had surgery in training camp. And they got to get more out of Greg Jennings. They say he had a veteran training camp, but he played like a rookie last week against the Bears. 1st and 10, ball at the 25-yard line. Green looking for the cutback. Met by 2 white shirts. Saints defense spectacular last week in that win against the Cleveland Browns. Charles Grant, Smith on the outside. Hollis Thomas brings a lot of beef inside, and Bryant Young had 3 sacks last week. Vegeta and Shanley brought in from Dallas in free agency. Mark Semino traded from Philadelphia inside. McKenzie, the former Packer, the 3rd-round pick here, played for 5 years. He'll be at the corner along with Thomas. They'll go with Bullocks and Harper back deep. 2nd and 9. Martin in motion. He sets up as a fullback. They'll give. Martin leads. Not much. And, Coach, we've seen this Saints defense. They played very tough inside against the run after being ranked 27th in the NFL last year against the run.
Well, this is a new defense, not only in terms of personnel, but certainly in terms of attitude. Gary Gibbs, the defensive coordinator, has come in here, and I think that he has committed this defense to stopping the run. They are going to put 8 men in the box if they need to. Whatever they need to do to slow down the Packers' running game, make the Packers one-dimensional, make Brett Favre beat you.
3rd down and 8. They go with Franks in motion. 3 wides, 1 tight. Looking for Franks. Nope, goes the other way. Touchdown, Packers. Greg Jennings. His first NFL touchdown.
Well, you mentioned Greg Jennings, Ronnie, and that Brett Favre needed to go to him. Here he is. He's going to simply run down the field. He goes inside, breaks it back outside. Brett Favre sees all that grass and lays it right outside. No one catches it but Greg Jennings. Packers on the board.
Had only 1 catch last week for 5 yards against the Bears. And as I said earlier, people were wondering when he was going to have the kind of performances he had in training camp. Rayner adds another one, and the Packers are up early here in Lambeau. .11:06 to play in the first quarter, and we are already 7-0 Green Bay Packers. There's a look at the very short scoring drive. All set up by the Aaron Campman strip and fumble recovery.
Ron, Mike McCarthy, head coach of the Packers, said they needed to start fast. He wanted his team to have some hope early. They certainly got it with that touchdown pass.
And a great kick by Rayner. Almost puts this one in the Fox River. 7-0 Packers.
Ronnie, here's what happened on the last touchdown. Bubba Franks is going to run to the outside. Jennings is going to run to the inside, but watch these 2 defensive backs. They're going to bump each other right here. They're going to hit each other and knock each other off. And as a result, Jennings is wide open in the end zone.
It's called the old rub play. And you mentioned how McCarthy wanted his team to start quick, especially after last week. And they start quick indeed. 1st and 10 for Drew Brees. Ball at the 20 push, looking for the outside. Campman again. And we brought this up last week, Coach. Reggie Bush may not find the outside quite as easily as he found it in college.
Well, Green Bay is going to line those 2 ends up wide. Aaron Campman likes to play wide, and as a result, it's hard to flank this defense. You're going to have to be patient, run inside, and then get your outside rushes as the game unfolds.
10 tackles last week against the Chicago Bears. A loss of 1. 2nd down and 11. Conwell sets up on the right side. They're going to try to pound it. It's not happening today. Let's get our first game break of the day. Let's go to Los Angeles for Chris Rose. Chris. All right, Chris, thank you very much. Brees was very effective last week on 3rd down. He was 10 of 14. 3rd and 8. Moore in motion. Pressure, pressure, fumble again. Packers recover. Gbaja-Biamila came around the outside.
Watch Cullen Jenkins right here. He's the guy that's going to go ahead and strip this ball. He's starting today for the first time. He gives a nice little spin move inside. Right there, he comes around, and Gbaja-Biamila, he's the one that actually takes the ball out of the quarterback's hands.
Jenkins was the one who actually recovered the fumble. I don't see a challenge by the Saints, questioning whether or not the arm was forward. It doesn't matter. The play is off. Favre looking for the end zone, checks it down, in and out of the hands of Greg Jennings. The Saints coming in today looking for their second consecutive road win. It would be the first time in the 40-year history of the franchise, but they are starting off in the complete wrong direction. A big win last week for that man, Peyton. This week, not working out anywhere near the same. Second down and 10. Favre to throw again. Fakes a quick hitter. Tries to throw it down to Bubba Franks, but he couldn't hold on. Grant under pressure.
You know, it's going to be interesting to watch how the Saints respond. You know, last week, everything went well for them. They got off to a fast start. They looked clean and crisp. Everything was good. This week, they've come in here to Lambeau. All of a sudden, everything's gone kaplooey, you know, and now they've got to regroup and gather themselves, particularly their defensive team. If they can get out of here with 3 points and not a touchdown, it'll be a great job by their defense.
Third down and 10. Franks in motion. The shovel pass. And that takes it all the way down to about the 6-yard line. Ahman Green. And a good matchup all day today should be Chad Clifton going against Will Smith.
Well, and Chad Clifton had a real rough outing last week. There wasn't much pressure there by Will Smith, but Clifton's got to play better today, along with the entire Green Bay offensive line, for them to have a good outing and be able to win this game against the Saints.
This will be Dave Rayner from 24 yards out. He beat out Billy Cundiff in training camp. Brought in late after being cut from Indianapolis. And he's true, and the Green Bay Packers, they're not messing around this week. 10-0, 8:38 in the first quarter. Packer kicker Dave Rayner just got his first NFL field goal. 2 career misses coming into today. Last week along with the 53, and because he was the kickoff specialist in Indianapolis, never really had a chance to kick field goals. Missed one from 59 yards last year in Indianapolis. A deep kick again. Stecker again from the end zone. Stecker dances, gets out to about the 20-yard line. Well, this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the Marlins and the Phillies meet at 12 Central as both teams try to gain ground in a race for the NL wildcard. Or the Angels try to stay alive in the AL West when they take on the A's, plus other regional action. And a lot of people think that Ryan Howard is the leading candidate for the MVP. The Phillies 1.5 games behind San Diego in that wild card race. First and 10 for Breeze. All their possessions have been backed up thus far. Roll out, looking for a comeback. Doesn't have it. Great coverage there by Brady Poppinga on Reggie Bush. And Poppinga got scorched a little last week against the Bears. Struggled in coverage.
Well, he really did. But this week, obviously on that play, he covered Bush very well. But they worked really hard in practice this week on their man-to-man coverage within their zones. And they were determined to make sure that Reggie Bush didn't hurt that defense. They could match up with him. And on that particular play, they did it.
Bush had 141 yards of total offense last week. Caught 8 balls out of the backfield. There's another throw and another incompletion. That one intended for the rookie Marcus Colston.
You know, Ryan, you look at this Green Bay defense, much maligned after last week's game. But really, when you analyze it, they gave up one big score early in the game, and then they gave up a lot of yards, but they played pretty well in the scoring zone. They gave up field goals. Their offense was really the part of the team that struggled. I felt like this defense had a chance to come out with Aaron Campman, Baja Biamila. They have two defensive ends. They can put some pressure on Breeze, and so far have.
3rd down and 10. A marker goes down. This should be against Green Bay unless they were pulled off. Check in for the first time today with our referee, Pete Morelli.
Defense, neutral zone infraction, number 94. 5-yard penalty still, 3rd down.
That's Baja Biamila. The Saints, 8 plays, 4 yards, 2 turnovers.
Watch Baja Biamila right here at the top of the screen. He's the guy that's going to jump. He just gets into that neutral zone just a little bit, and they caught him. Easy 5 yards for the Saints. Anytime you can get that defensive line to jump with the voice inflection of the quarterback, you're playing good offense.
3rd down and 5. Horn and Postum at the bottom of your screen. Empty backfield. Pressure, throw, caught. Devery Henderson, and Henderson almost did a little reverse turn back inside, but he already had the 1st down, and he gets the first down for the Saints today.
Nice.
Pickup of 13 yards.
Nice job by the Saints offensive line, giving Breeze protection. The quarterback's got to get comfortable, particularly in this venue, with all the noise, all the people, all the hype about Lambeau. You want your quarterback to be settled down. The better protection he gets, the more settled down he is.
See Henderson's numbers last week against Cleveland. First and 10 Saints. McAllister looking for the corner, slips down. A.J. Hawk, the rookie out of Ohio State, the 1st-round pick, 5th overall, is there to force the issue.
A.J. Hawk right here is going to make an awfully good play. He's the guy that everybody in Green Bay is talking about his mobility, about the way he gets off blocks. You could see right there, he shed the blocker, made the tackle. That's what A.J. Hawk can do, get off people and make plays.
Busted through the would-be block of Jerry Evans and made the tackle. 2nd down and 10. Packers coming inside, A-gap blitz, there's Hawk. The throw, the great catch by Bush, and here goes Reggie Bush. And Bush is close to the 50-yard line, but he'll have a Saints 1st down.
Boy, you've got to credit Drew Brees with this play. I know Bush carries the ball on the throw, but Drew Brees, A.J. Hawk unblocked right in his face, gets rid of the ball, and Bush does the rest. The quarterback was so cool under pressure.
The Heisman Trophy winner, who's had to answer a lot of questions off the field this week concerning the illegal gifts given to he and his family at USC last year. But as he told us in our pregame, it would not be a distraction. McAllister inside. And it's got to be somewhat unsettling to play in your 2nd NFL game and to have to answer questions again about all the wrongdoings.
Well, particularly, Ronnie, with the way the team played last week, there was so much excitement in the city, in the NFL about the Saints. And now all of a sudden, this issue gets back into the limelight. It's unfortunate, I think, for Reggie Bush and certainly for the Saints team.
2nd down and 7. They'll go with the tight end in the backfield, and that's McAllister. Look at the room Deuce has. An easy 1st down and some. A missed tackle by Manuel. And McAllister is all the way down to the 25, 24-yard line. A pickup of 24 yards. A busted coverage somewhere.
There's no question about it. This is a busted coverage. They're going to blitz right here. And sure enough, you can watch Bush coming out of the backfield to the right. No one's on him. He's got a blocker in front of him. It doesn't get any cleaner than that for the quarterback to just exchange the ball to a great back in the open field.
The leading rusher last week against the Browns. Bush got a lot of pub, but McAllister did it on the ground. 22 carries for 90 yards. Remember, he is the Saints' all-time leading rusher. Timeout called by Drew Brees and the Saints. 10-0, Packers. Well, the Saints lead the time of possession, but their first 2 drives were horrific. 6 plays, a loss of 2 yards, and 2 turnovers. This drive, 7 plays, 57 yards. First and 10 for Brees after the timeout. Looks like man-to-man coverage in the secondary. Going up top, looking at Al Harris. Bad throw. Intercepted. Is he in? Yes. Al Harris had 3 interceptions last year, gets his first of the 2006 season. Not a very smart throw by Drew Brees. The first 3 possessions for the Saints, 3 turnovers. Remember, last year, they were the worst in the NFL in the turnover ratio, -24. First and 10, Packers. Backed up, ball at about the 8. Hand off to Green. Looking for a seam. Hasn't had a lot of love in there. Let's go back to that interception by Al Harris.
Ron, Nick Collins does a great job. You can watch him here to the right of the screen. He gets underneath the throw. Brees frees it right there. You can see right there. That's Nick Collins. He gets the ball tipped. He enables Al Harris to make the interception. The reality of it is there's 2 defenders in the same area. Brees should have never thrown the ball.
May have been expecting a deep comeback by Henderson, but it never happened. The screen to Green, and Green will have a Packer first down. Remember Ahman Green, as he picks up 7 there, recovering from a torn quad muscle last season, went on the injured reserve list back in week 6. Came back healthy last week, 20 carries for 110 and a 5.5 yard per carry average. Jennings in motion. They'll go to Green again. Green flips through and gets another 5. And Coach, we had an interesting conversation with Jeff Jagodzinski, the Packers offensive coordinator. And he said in our run game, this new run scheme or zone scheme, we like to try to get about 4.1, 4.2 a crack running the ball.
Well, last week they really struggled against a very good Bear defense, but this week they've come out and finding some creases in the Saints.
A bad
defense.
snap. Favre gets the ball and then just chucks it. A miscommunication somehow on the snap from Scott Wells. Favre did an excellent job of just getting the ball. There's going to be a discussion about, most likely about an intentional grounding.
Well, Brett Favre has put
3 in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Result of play, first down.
Nope, goes against the Saints. Right there.
Will Smith jumped in the neutral zone, but what happened? That was a good job by the center. He saw that out of the corner of his eye.
And snapped it.
And snapped the ball. Favre wasn't ready for the snap, obviously. And then Favre makes a great play because he's ad-libbing and just gets rid of that ball. But, you know, Scott Wells, he probably gave Brett Favre a heart attack there. You know, he thinks that, you know, the ball's not, he's not ready for that ball to come out, and all of a sudden Wells puts that ball out there trying to get the 5-yard penalty.
That's right.
It could have been a huge mistake.
The Saints committed the infraction before Favre made the throw. Pressure on the outside. Here comes Scott Fujita up top. The throw inside, an easy pitch and catch, and there goes Donald Driver. Donald Driver all the way down to the Saints' 20-yard line. There was a mix-up in the secondary for the Saints, and then a missed tackle, and off went Driver, 48 yards.
Well, Donald Driver's right here in the slot. He's just going to run a quick little inside slant, and the rest is Donald Driver. A little spin move, and we talked about him before the game began. Driver has it all. He's tough, he catches the ball, he's got speed. Brett Favre needs to keep feeding him the ball.
They'll keep it on the ground. And it was a joy to talk to Donald Driver the other day. Had 7 catches for 96 yards against the Chicago Bears last week. But Favre said this guy is just tough. Doesn't have all the intangibles. Not the fastest guy, not the tallest guy, not the strongest guy, but he'll go inside and catch everything.
Driver said that Favre taught him how to be tough. He said, never show a man that you're hurt. That's what Brett Favre told Donald Driver, and Driver said, I've become tough now.
2nd down and 6. The pump, plenty of time for Favre, but he'll go down. You don't have that much time. Pressure inside, looks like Willie Whitehead.
And the Packers do initially a good job picking up this blitz. Both linebackers for the Saints are going to come. The Packers pick it up, but the ball has eventually got to be out of there. Brett Favre holds this ball too long because the coverage in the Saints secondary was so good. As a result, a sack.
3rd and 13. Screen. One nice block. The second block, Ahman Green. He's going to be about 3-4 yards short of the first down. Got a couple nice blocks up front. A pickup of 8.
Ahman Green is another weapon that Brett Favre wants to utilize. Favre's the master of the screen, sucks the defense in, lays it off to Ahman Green, and you can see there, Ahman Green looks to me like he's 100% back. He's strong, his leg feels good. If this guy can get over 1,000 yards rushing, that will really help the Green Bay offense.
Rayner hit already today. This one will be from 36 yards out. Looking for his 2nd NFL field goal. It's up and it's clean. Don't forget, next week on Fox, it's a doubleheader beginning at 12 Eastern with the Ford pregame show live from Seattle. The early games include the Packers and the Lions, or the Panthers and the Bucks. Then it's game 2, the Giants and the Seahawks in a rematch way out west.
I like the Seahawks in that battle.
You like the Seahawks, huh?
You know, they beat them last year in a very tough game, and Seattle is as tough a place to play, I think, as there is in the NFL.
Well, you got that long trip, and no one will ever use that as an excuse, but that's a killer coming from east to west, west to east, no matter how you slice it. Now they know how the Seattle Seahawks feel when they got to go back east.
No question about it. The other thing is you've got a crowd environment there that's tough. It disrupts your offensive signals. It's hard to hear checks. I think Seattle may be the best team in the NFC this year. They were certainly impressive last year. I don't think they helped themselves a whole lot in the offseason, except with the acquisition of Julian Peterson, but he could have been a huge acquisition for them.
Remember, that drive started from the 8-yard line, the Packers' own 8-yard line. They got the help with an early penalty, then hit the big play to Donald Driver. Gave up the sack, couldn't punch it in. The Rayner is true for the 2nd time today. Stecker. This will be from 3 yards in. Can't handle it. And it'll be a touchback for the Saints. And the Saints, 3 turnovers, and we're not even out of the first quarter. The first, when Campbell came around the corner. He had a nice play last week. Baja Villamilla, we talked about that matchup. Baja Villamilla going against Jamal Brown, and here was just a bad throw, we believe, by Drew Brees. 2 Packer defenders in the area. Al Harris came up with the goods.
If you're Sean Payton, you've got to get your team settled down. You know, you've gotten off to such a rough start, but the game is early. You're down 13-0. You just need to settle down, get back in your rhythm offensively, and start completing some balls, and you'll get right back into this ball game.
Bush as a wide receiver in motion in the slot. Plenty of time for Brees to throw outside. Dropped. Marcus Colston, he had it, couldn't hold on. And he is a huge target at 6'4", 230 pounds.
I liked visiting with Marcus the other day when we were talking about the move from Hofstra to the NFL. And you know, he doesn't seem to be awed by anything. I mean, he went to the Combine, he got a lot of good exposure. He said once he went to the Combine, he realized he could measure up against all the big-name guys who went to big-name schools, and here he is playing in the NFL as a starter.
2nd down and 10. 4 wide receiver look. The quick toss, Bush. Nowhere to go for Reggie Bush. A nice force on the play. And Hawk ends up around the outside for the tackle.
A.J. Hawk is really showing up for this Packer defense. This is a guy with real speed. He can run. You can watch him, number 50. He's the guy that's going to force this play. And anytime the Packers run downhill with their linebackers, they've got a chance to make plays because they have such good speed with he and Nick Barnett in the middle. Those two guys can fly.
This should be the final play of the first quarter. 3rd and 9 for Breeze. He's going to get it off. Pressure, throw, Bush. There goes Reggie Bush. He's going to be a long way from the first down, and he can't make it. Nice open field tackle by Nick Collins. That's the end of the first quarter. Green. Ron Pitts, Terry Donahue, Drew Smith. We start the second quarter here in Green Bay, and it's all Green Bay thanks to 3 turnovers. This will be a 4th down and a punt by the Saints. Steve Weatherford, the rookie out of Illinois, will punt deep to Charles Woodson, the former Heisman Trophy winner. Woodson takes it up to 24, gets away from 1, looking for the wall. Woodson is in trouble, and Woodson loses yards, goes all the way back to about the 22-yard line. Steve Gleason on the tackle. Here's a look at the first quarter numbers.
Ronnie, when you look at this, the biggest thing you look at right here is here. The Saints, if you come into a game like this and you turn the ball over 3 times in the entire game, you've got problems, right? And they turn it over 3 times in the first quarter, but they're still only down 13-0, and everything bad has happened to them. So what you have to do is you have to talk to your team as, hey guys, it can't get any worse than this. Let's just settle down and play, get our sea legs underneath us and start playing. We'll do better.
1st and 10 for the Packer offense. Saints brought up an 8th man looking for run. Favre checked out of it. Across the middle, intended for Driver. There's contact, but it's going to be incidental contact. Jason Kraft on the coverage. The tangling of the feet is allowed.
The slot receiver is just going to run to the inside here. You'll watch him, and Jason Kraft has tight man-to-man coverage. The Saints are up there bumping and running. Jason Kraft trailing. And, you know, I think it is incidental. I don't think that's a flag. I think the defenders have as much right to play on the field and go to the ball as the offensive guys.
Plus, he was looking back at the football. 2nd and 10. Gun formation. The quick hit outside, and that's complete to Martin. And Martin is going to be about a solid 2.5 from the first down. Last week against Chicago for Favre, you can see the quarterback rating. Today, quite a different story.
Well, this is a different Packer team than we saw last week. There's no question about it. You've got to give Mike McCarthy credit. He took a lot of abuse this week in this city. A lot of people were very disappointed with their opening game, but the Packers have come out here today and they're united, playing much better on both sides of the ball.
3rd down and 3. Throw inside, the heater intended for Driver, and that one's overthrown, and that'll bring on the punting unit. What did Driver say about catching some of Favre's passes? He's broken 3 fingers, and he can tell by the kick whether or not it's going to be a hot one.
That was a hot one, that last ball. That would have read ball attacks man here in Green Bay. I mean, Brett Favre still has a hot arm. People say he should retire, he's too old, but this guy has heat on the ball.
The first punt today for the Packers. Lance Moore is deep, and a great punt there by John Ryan. Moore going backwards, gets a wall, gets a block, and he's inside. There goes Lance Moore. And Moore with a very nice return, 26 yards on the return, finally brought down by Donald Lee, 13. And so far today, the story has been about turnovers and field position. You can see the average starting field position for both teams. 1st and 10. McAllister. Not much. Hasn't been easy for McAllister inside. The Packers ready for that run game. After football today, hold on tight. It's a professional bull rider series as the world's toughest cowboys put it all on the line in the Johnsonville Brotts Jerome Davis Challenge, presented by Wrangler. Don't miss all the action right here after football coverage on Fox.
How about getting on a bull, Ronnie? Would that scare the heck out of you? Think about that.
I'll get on a dirt bike, but I'm not going to get on a bull.
Oh my goodness, what those athletes are fearless.
Guess you can break your neck the same either way. 2nd and 8, Bush out of the backfield. Looking for Bush. Goes deep instead, nearly intercepted. Intended for Colston, and boy, a couple of Breeze's passes today haven't looked real sharp.
No, there's no question the Saints are nowhere near as sharp as they were a week ago against Cleveland. Drew Brees, he threw the interception on the deep out. He thought it was a deep out. Sure enough, it wasn't. Al Harris comes up with the interception on that play. This play is a misfire. The timing right now with the Saints offense is just off.
3rd down and 8. They'll go with Moore and Henderson on the bottom. Colston and Joe Horn up top. The quick one, Colston, he's got it. 1st down, Saints. As Colston is in the Packer territory. Coverage by Charles Woodson.
Marcus Colston, such a big target. He's right here in the slot. He's just going to run to the inside, catch a ball, and then when you exchange the ball to a big wideout like that, his body is such a great target for you. You just have to put it on the numbers and he'll take it and make the 1st down. This is a huge wideout who goes and plays inside. That's an advantage in terms of matchups against safeties or linebackers.
Horn in motion on the 1st and 10. Ball at midfield. Batted down. Looked like Jenkins. Let's go to Los Angeles for Chris Rose in this update.
Well, Ron, for the 2nd straight week, the Bears offense exploding. Rex Grossman laying it out for Bernard Berrien. 6 points for the score. We'll give them some extra pretty points as well. They're up on the Lions 17-zip in the 2nd. Back to Ron and Terry at Lambeau.
Boy, the Lions lose a close one last week. And heading back down that lost road again today. 2nd down and 10. The post corner, the short post corner by Devery Henderson, and he had the ball. Would have made an easy 1st down, but he couldn't hold on. Woodson on the coverage.
You've got to be able to come up with balls when they're accurate like this. And Devery Henderson, this ball hits him right in the hands. Drew Brees needs wide receivers to make plays for him in this particular case. Keep the chains moving. You can't drop balls like that. Should have been a 1st down. Instead, it's 3rd and 10.
McAllister is in the slot on the bottom of your screen. Too much time for Brees and a sack. Campman. And Aaron Campman has come up big here today. He's already forced the fumble, then recovered the fumble. Now he gets a sack.
Aaron Campman is one of those blue-collar guys. He just keeps coming at the top of the screen. And this is a guy that everybody talks about. He's working against Stinchcomb there. They talk about his work ethic, that he never stops on a play. He just keeps working those offenders until he gets to the quarterback.
Campman, the 5th-year man out of Iowa. A 5th-round pick back in 2002, playing like a 1st rounder. Timeout is called. Aaron Campman making a huge difference today already. 2 sacks. And he's got a career high of 3. That was last year versus the Vikings. He may break that record. 4th down, the Packers stay in the safe punt look. They're expecting a fake. The punt off by Weatherford. And that ball rolls into the end zone. It'll be a touchback coming back. All Packers here in the 2nd quarter.
Wireless.
The first 4 possessions for the New Orleans Saints today, nothing but trouble.
Well, I think you got to credit the Packers defensive line to a large extent. You know, Aaron Campman, he has a strip. You get the pressure by Cullen Jenkins. Baja Biamila, he gets a strip. They've put real pressure on the Saints.
Henderson and Green in the backfield. They'll stop play. The Saints came up here last
False
year.
start, number 88, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Came here last year in the 4th game of the season. The Packers needed about as bad as a team could need when they were 0-4. Things weren't looking good, and they took it all out on the Saints. Beat them 52-3.
Well, let's hope for better things than that today. I think the Saints will play better as this game unfolds. They've just gotten off to such a rocky start. But the Packers, there's no question, they came into this game united. They're ready to play today.
Packers have won 4 of the last 5 games against the New Orleans Saints. Penalty takes them back. 1st and 15. They keep on chucking it. Dropped Bubba Franks, and a lot of people wanted to know why Bubba Franks hadn't been getting the football, hasn't had a catch since November of last year. That won't help his case.
Well, you know, Brett Favre, that's one of the things I think that's really hurt Brett Favre. When he was at his prime, he had guys like Chimera, Keith Jackson at tight end. Bubba Franks hasn't really developed for him the way those guys have. And the quarterback always wants an outlet. You need to get off the hook. And oftentimes it's your tight end receiver that gets you off the hooks. Franks hasn't done that.
2nd and 15. The slant inside intended for Jennings, and it's not there. Fred Thomas jammed him up, and that's why it never materialized.
Greg Jennings is going to run a little quick inside slant, and the problem you have is when you get tight coverage by a defensive back like that, it's hard to get off, and so he gets jammed very, very nicely.
And I can guarantee you he will get an earful from Brett either in the huddle, having just gotten it, or on the sidelines. Because that is one thing quarterbacks hate, is to see the receivers getting locked up on the line of scrimmage. Got to work harder to get off the line. 3rd and 15, the dump down to Green, and the Packers' momentum is slowing down. That'll bring on the punting unit. A couple drops. Another one there by Green. Maybe a bad throw, and McCarthy is trying to get an explanation.
Yeah, I think you're right. Mike McCarthy came into this game. He absolutely insisted on his team starting fast. He wanted to give them hope, make them know that they can hang in this game. The Saints were so impressive the week before, but now the Saints are going to have good field position, and then maybe they can get their offense unwound.
Ryan with the punt to Moore. Moore had a nice return doing the same thing that he did last time, reversing field, and he makes this one respectable. 13-0, 11:09 here in the 2nd quarter. A quiet start for Reggie Bush this week, nothing like last week. You can see the amount of plays he's been in. He's got 3 rushes for 6 yards, 2 catches for 14 yards, a grand total of 20 yards, coming off of a 141-yard performance, but it's early. Very early. He can get going on one play on you.
And I think Sean Payton is being very cautious as to how he uses Bush. He doesn't want to overuse him. He's not returning punch yet in this game. And I think that he wants to be careful he doesn't overuse him too quickly, because you want him to touch the ball every play if you're the coach.
Breeze looking for the deep out. Call it the short out, and that's Joe Horn. Let's go to Los Angeles and Chris Rose for this update. Chris, he's got to work on throwing the ball in the stands, so that guy in the stands got to work on catching. One of the two.
Isn't it funny, Ron, how a guy can be in New Orleans, doesn't play well, then goes over and goes to another team, and it happens all the time across the league.
2nd and 4, Bush looking for the corner. Nice job, Woodson. That's Heisman on Heisman. He pushes him out of bounds. A pickup of 1.
Charles Woodson's going to come up to support this play, and you can watch him, number 21. He comes up and gets off the stock block by the wide receiver and at least forces Reggie Bush out of bounds. He kept good containment on that play. Bush wanted the corner, he just couldn't grab it.
Woodson missed 10 games last year with a broken leg, came in fresh from the Oakland Raiders in free agency, and has helped put together a very solid cornerback crew here. 3rd and 4, nobody in the backfield, pressure. Breeze gets away, still nobody to throw to. and then just makes a concession throw. May have been enough for the first down. That's Joe Horn.
Harris on the coverage.
Let's see how they mark it. He wanted to go deep the entire time and finally had to settle for the check down as Joe Horn was standing at the marker.
Well, he wanted to go ahead and get the ball to McAllister or Bush. Both backs are going to be out of the backfield. There's one, there's the other, and sure enough, they're not open. And so all of a sudden, Drew Brees has to improvise, and like you said, it's almost a concession throw. He had nowhere to go. He throws it to Horn, and Horn almost makes the first down, and sure enough, he does.
He does make the first down.
Did you see Joe Horn put his foot back there?
Yeah.
He's a clever guy, wasn't he?
That's what 11 years in the league will do for you. A four-time Pro Bowler. A new set for the Saints. Play action. Looking for a comeback. It's not there. And it developed late. Joe Horn got tangled up with Woodson. Woodson grabbing the shin. He turned around and looked back at Woodson.
Woodson loves to play tight, bump man coverage. He doesn't like to play off much. This is what he likes to do. Both players slip down, but Woodson is the kind of guy, he's still got speed. He can run, and he likes to get up there on you tight, and if you don't get a clean release, if you don't get separation early, your route's going to get disrupted. That's going to affect the quarterback. That's what's happening a little bit to the Saints. The bump and run coverage from the Packers is disrupting their routes.
2nd and 10. Receiver screen outside to Stecker, and Stecker is hit quickly. Marquand Manuel brought in free agency from the Seattle Seahawks. Keeps it to a gain of 1. Make it officially 2.
You know, the Packers coming into this game, one of the things they talked to us about, Ron, was trying to get a pass rush because they had no pass rush last week. They start this game, they get a real pass rush out of their front. It's turned the game around with the turnovers and things like that. So they've certainly accomplished part of what they've wanted to get done early in this game.
3rd down and 8. The dump down to Bush. He'll have to dance, and he dances enough for the first down. Just made it past. Looked like Woodson and Hawk. And that'll be a first down for the Saints.
Well, watch the big left tackle, Jamal Brown, number 70. He's working here against Baja Biamila. Does a great job on him. And anytime you can have that left tackle protect the blind side of the quarterback, your quarterback's happy, your head coach is happy, everybody's happy.
You see that little chip by Reggie?
Yeah, little chip, yeah.
That was just enough to throw Baja Biamila off course and make him reset. Woodson inside at the top of your screen at the corner. Faking blitz, stays in coverage. They'll throw again. Going deep for the tight end, Campbell, and he's got it. Campbell inside the 5-yard line. Mark Campbell, the backup tight end, has been relegated to a fullback because of the injuries to Mike Carney and Keith Joseph. They lost them last week. He comes up with a nice catch here.
Well, Mark Campbell split out wide. He's going to run down the field. Normally, you don't have tight ends running streaks from wide positions, but the ball's underthrown. Anytime the ball's underthrown, the advantage goes to the receiver. The DB is generally not looking back. All of a sudden, the receiver sees it. He can stop and make a play on the ball. That's exactly what Campbell did.
33 yards for Campbell on what you call that fade stop. I don't know if he planned it like that for the tight end. You usually don't plan for a 260-pound tight end to run a fade stop, but the ball was behind. He made a great adjustment. Campbell, the 8th-year man out of Michigan, a free agent this year. 10 starts in Buffalo last year. Was really known for his blocking. He's got a career long right now, 33 yards thanks to that reception.
It was a nice job by him playing the ball. I mean, he really did react to an underthrown ball and had a pretty good matchup there against Nick Collins, but normally you'd say Nick Collins is going to be able to cover Campbell. On that particular play, he couldn't.
See the red zone offense for the Saints last year at the bottom of the barrel. This is their first trip inside the red zone today. They say you got to be able to run it inside the red zone. They'll start with the pass. Looking inside, knocked away. Intended for Nate Lowry, the 3rd-year tight end from Yale. Coverage on the play by A.J. Hawk.
A.J. Hawk is standing up right here. You can watch him. He starts to rush, then he decides, oh, I better coverage. He backs up in coverage, makes a nice play. He's an athletic, he's an athletic guy. He's built, he's strong, he's fast, very, very athletic, but a natural, instinctive football player.
Second and goal. Deuce McAllister, the lone back. He'll get the call. Deuce straight ahead, and Deuce McAllister finally has the Saints on the board.
Ron, it was a rocky start for the Saints offensively, but sure enough, if you're patient enough, all of a sudden you can get right back into the game. It seems like you're out of the game, but if you keep pounding away and fighting, you can get back in it, and that's what the Saints have done. Deuce McAllister by the goal line is a big, strong, physical back. This guy can pound it in, and behind Jamal Brown, Jamar Nesbitt, that's a big side of the left side of that line, and they can punch it in there and did.
And you're right, Nesbitt just drove inside, put A.J. Hawk on roller skates, and they made it look easy. Carney, 17 years in the league. The 42-year-old makes it 7-13. Green Bay still ahead, and a tough game for McAllister last year. And that drubbing by the Packers. Came up and he got that injury on this play. Right there, you could see the knee. Tried to come back, but ended up sitting out the rest of the year, going on IR with a bad knee. But coming back, maybe revitalized a little bit, so to speak. When they draft the Heisman Trophy winner at your position, that kind of makes you turn it up a notch. But he's used to that. Remember, he's played with a Heisman Trophy winner before, played with Ricky Williams back in '99, Deuce's rookie year. Ricky Williams from Texas was the Heisman Trophy winner.
Well, he came into camp 10 pounds lighter, so certainly he was motivated by something. And I think anytime, the old saying, competition makes the competitor, and I think it's very true. When you don't have competition, you probably don't excel. Even though you try to push yourself, you probably don't take it to a new level. You bring in somebody like Reggie Bush, that'll make you take it to a new level.
Everybody wanted to know how Sean Payton would use the weapons, particularly the new weapon in Reggie Bush.
This is an important drive for Green Bay. Mike McCarthy's team came out, jumped out to a 13-0 lead. They've kind of staggered a little bit here in the second quarter. This is a very important drive, I think, for Green Bay to get their momentum back in this game.
Carney kicks it away to the newly acquired Koren Robinson. Brought in this week off the streets, was in Minnesota, cut in training camp. Next week on Fox, it's an NFL Sunday doubleheader beginning at 12 Eastern with the pregame show live from Seattle. The early games will include the Packers and the Lions, or the Panthers and the Bucks. Game 2, don't forget, the New York Giants going back out to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Might be a little easier for them. Seahawks don't have big Steve Hutchinson back at that guard position, lost him to the Minnesota Vikings. I didn't like that move. That could affect their run game and Sean Alexander. And Ahman Green has found it very tough against this defense running the ball. We mentioned earlier the Saints were 27th in the league last year against the run, giving up 4.3 yards a crack. But last week, they gave up 85 total rushing yards against the Cleveland Browns.
I think this is an underrated defense. They're very mobile up front. Two outstanding defensive ends in Will Smith, Charles Grant. I think they've got linebackers who have played better than expected, and their secondary so far has held up.
2nd and 10, the boot. Favre looking for the crosser, waiting for somebody to keep coming. Finally shoots it down to the tight end, Bubba Franks. And I believe Bubba Franks is going to have the first down. Let's see where they mark it. It is a Packers first down. We were talking about the Saints defense last week in the opener against Cleveland. Gave up only 14 points, 186 total yards. But the big plays, 5 sacks, some interceptions. I know Scott Fujita made some brilliant plays out there, had a nice interception, a forced fumble.
He had 3 takeaways last week.
That's Green again, and another big hit. They got bigger, as you mentioned, as a marker goes down. They got bigger inside. Bryant Young was already a high motor guy at that tackle, but big Hollis Thomas coming in as a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think Hollis Thomas is...
6 offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
I think he's really helped the inside of this defense because Bryant Young is a quicker, faster player. And if you have to double team Hollis Thomas, it really helps Bryant Young as it showed last week with 3 sacks. All of a sudden you're doubling the big man and the quicker, faster guy is making sacks on you. But the strength of that front is no question in my mind, Will Smith and Charles Grant. Those 2 defensive ends are as good, I think, as Campman and Baja Biamila.
1st and 20. Penalties taking the Packers back. They're stalling a little bit this drive. That one knocked away, intended for Green. Rob Ninkovich, the 5th round pick out of Purdue. And you can see how it started out. Green Bay, because of the turnovers, with the big plays, they got on the board early. Rick Jennings started off. Then they hit a couple field goals by Rayner. But then the Carnival slowed down a little bit. The Saints got into it, got some big plays, put together a nice drive, and got on the board with Deuce McAllister in a short run. Ahman Green pushing it out close to the 30-yard line. A pickup of 8. I don't want to jinx him, Coach, but Ahman Green has gone 9 straight games without a fumble.
Well, Ahman Green has real vision, and he runs behind a double team block here on the left side. We're going to get down blocks here, and sure enough, one of the things, if you get Ahman Green some room, his vision will allow him to find a crease in that defense and make some positive yardage.
3rd down conversions today for the Packers. There's a dump down to Franks, and Franks is going to be way short of the first down. Roman Harper coming down with the tackle. Nice open field tackle on a big man, and it'll bring on the punting unit for the Packers. And Reggie Bush is finally back deep for the Saints. They see the Mo slipping away. They say, we need a play. This will be Bush's first punt return of the day.
You know, if the Saints survive the shaky start that they've had, you've got to give them some credit because they're going to have pretty good field position after this punt. And they're still very much in this ball game.
Bush takes it at the 22, dances. Now he's going backwards. Goes forward again. Oh, my goodness, what a move. Reggie Bush back up to the 30, and all you can do is laugh because he made some guys look silly. And, Coach, you talked about his high avoid ratio.
And elusiveness, right? This guy is elusive. You talk about trying to wrap him up and get a shot at him, but he's so quick with his feet, has such good vision, very, very difficult to get this guy pinned in. This is a great return, although not for a lot of positive yards. But have you seen many backs that can do that with the ball?
That's the most exciting 5-yard return I have ever seen. That 5-yard return will make some highlights tonight. 1st and 10 for Breeze. Started off slow, but they're back in this one. They'll hand it off inside to McAllister. And, Coach, we talked about this last week, and it made you think of all the elusive running backs that have played this game. First and foremost, one of the greatest ever, Gale Sayers, and then a guy who I had the pleasure of missing a couple times, Barry Sanders.
Yeah, no question. And you come and watch Marshall Faulk, he could make you miss. Or, you know, these guys, Damian Tomlinson, these are the guys that can make you miss.
I go back to what my father Elijah used to say when he played. He used to get off the bench and watch Gale Sayers play. That's how exciting he was. That's a handoff inside to McAllister. Tackled by Jennings.
Reggie Bush isn't in that league yet, but he has that same avoid. He has that same ability to use his vision and make you miss a tackle, and he certainly hasn't accomplished anything like those other guys have yet, but he's a rookie player. Give him time.
But the key is using him right, as you mentioned earlier. Not an overly big guy, about 200 pounds, small by NFL standards for a running back, but you don't want too many hits on him. 3rd and 1. The boot, there it is, Stecker, and Stecker is going to convert easily. Woo, what a shot. Nick Collins laid the wood, but it was too late, and they talk about it. A pickup of 7.
First down.
And when you look at the running backs throughout the NFL, the ones that are even smaller by standards, pound for pound, have yet been productive.
First and 10 from the 43.
You know, it's kind of a 210-pound standard, Ron. If you're under 210 pounds, there are some. Those guys right there on the screen are really good ones, but they're not as many as you might think, because 210 pounds is a big man's game.
First down to throw to Horn, and Horn is close to another Saints first down. And Sean Payton told us last night that we have to get Joe Horn involved early. Said he didn't play well last week, and maybe that's our fault.
Well, they didn't get him involved early. Here we are in the second quarter, and Horn is a factor in this offense. If you can get him feeling good about himself, feeling good about the offense, he'll come up with some big plays.
The Saints will be approaching the 2-minute mode soon. 2nd and 1. Waist down. Bush will have to ad-lib an awful lot, and I don't think he's going to do it. Ryan Pickett is there along with 3 other Packers to take him backwards. And that should be the 2-minute warning here in Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers 13 and New Orleans Saints 7. We'll be back after these messages. And Coach, this is a situation where the Saints losing their 2 fullbacks last week could come back to haunt them.
Well, it's hard when you lose 2 fullbacks in short yardage goal line. They brought in Corey McIntyre, taught him a few things to do. You can't teach him the whole playbook in 1 week, but you can teach him 1 or 2 plays, particularly in short yardage.
And McIntyre is in the backfield right now at fullback. He'll lead on the toss. I don't think so, unless they give him a very generous spot.
The Saints here just try to run a toss sweep with McAllister here. You can watch McIntyre, the lead blocker. He'll make a block, but the reality of it is the running back cuts it back too soon. He doesn't really stretch that defense, and when he turns it up, that Packer defense just shuts it down. 4th and 1.
4th and 1, the Saints are going. They'll go into stacked I. Horn in motion. Pass. McIntyre. McIntyre will convert the first down. Very nicely executed play.
Boy, Ryan, you talk about a gutsy call by Sean Payton. McIntyre, he's the fullback. He's going to slip right out here in the flat. This guy's been in camp for 1 week. Here you are in Lambeau Field, 4th and 1. You got to make a critical first down, and you slip that ball to a guy you hardly even know.
And a flag is down on the sideline.
There is no foul on the play for unsportsmanlike conduct. Ball was thrown in the air.
And you mentioned McIntyre, fresh off the boat, so to speak, cut by Cleveland in training camp, originally an undrafted free agent for the Philadelphia Eagles back in 2002, spent the entire first year on the practice squad, got a little bit better, got a little bit more experience, and his timing was just right while he was sitting at home.
That was a big reception for him.
Huge reception. Under the 2-minute warning, the pump and go, going deep, looking for Colston, just out of his reach. Coverage on the play by the rookie Jared Bush from Utah State.
You know, we talked about separation. Whenever you get jammed, you get disrupted. Colston here gets good separation that allows him to get away from the defender. The ball is just barely overthrown by Drew Brees. A little more air underneath that ball, and Brees has a touchdown.
2 timeouts remaining for the Saints, 2nd and 10. 1:09 here in the first half. Wanted to go to Bush, checked it back the other way to Jeffrey Henderson, and Henderson gets out of bounds, but after he makes the first down, and that's very nicely done. Woodson on the coverage, a pickup of 12.
Avery Henderson is just going to run a little crossing route across the field here. You'll watch him, and he does a nice job of staying shallow for the quarterback. He separates, he settles down, catches the ball, and then turns into an offensive runner. Really a nice play by them.
Ahmad Carroll, the backup corner, is the man down for the Packers. Looks as though it's cramps. You're talking about Henderson. Henderson with a nice day last week. 3 catches, but all for long distance, 44 yards. And Henderson didn't fall into that trap that Dante Stallworth fell into. Remember talking to Sean Payton last week. He said, we kept waiting on Dante Stallworth to make something happen in training camp, and it never happened. In the meantime, Colston and Henderson were playing great football.
And they took all the reps. And really, that's how Colston got to be first string. He just took rep after rep and got in there and performed for the coaches. And Henderson did the same thing. And sure enough, they were able to trade Stallworth. Now, Stallworth has played pretty well once the regular season has started. You know, he's had 2 touchdown passes in 2 weeks.
Yes, he has. This goes to show you in this league, doesn't matter what the reputation is and what your draft status is, you may get more chances, but if your production level is not where the coaches think it should be or needs to be, they'll put you on that train at any time. And luckily for Stallworth, he was able to go somewhere else in a pretty nice situation. Breeze, pump and go. Henderson, great play. Touchdown, Saints. Ahmad Carroll bit the cheese. The pump and go.
Well, Devery Henderson acts like he's going to run a little slant inside, then takes it back outside. And Drew Brees did a great job with his arm fake. He pumped, then went back to the deep ball. It's just an excellent play by the Saints. Great execution by them. You can see the pump fake there by Brees. That is what allowed the receiver to be so open. Ahmad Carroll just jumped on that post. It wasn't a post, it was a streak.
I don't even know why Ahmad was in there. He looked as though he was cramping, was on the ground for a while, got up. If you got a cramp, I'm not going to go out and try to cover anybody in the NFL man-to-man the next play, that's for sure. So the New Orleans Saints take the lead after stumbling out of the blocks big time. And Coach, you talked about that pump and go. Here's a look at what it looked like in sync.
Watch Devery outside. He's going to push, go inside like he's going to go to the post, and then all of a sudden, Brees fakes the ball in there, and he jumps outside for the streak.
And you saw where his eyes were, huh, Coach?
Yeah,
he's looking right in the back.
Yeah, he was watching Drew Brees. That's why Brees did such a great job with that ball fake and shoulder fake, because that DB just jumped all over it. And sure enough, the wideout took it up for the touchdown.
And you mentioned it earlier. Hey, it's 13-0, but the game is by all means not over. You got to stay in it, keep fighting, hang on, and hope for the big plays. And they have gotten the big plays.
Well, and everything went wrong for the Saints to begin the game, and everything went right for the Packers. You know, Campman gets a strip. Baja Biamila gets a strip. You know, all of a sudden there's turnovers, there's points. But the Saints have hung in there psychologically as well as physically, and now lead the game 14-13.
Look at Brees' numbers, and that's one thing that Brees will give you that a lot of Saints fans will tell you they did not have in the past with Aaron Brooks. Consistency at quarterback and a true veteran who won't make that big mistake, especially in the red area, and Aaron Brooks had a penchant for making that mistake in the red area.
I saw Aaron Brooks play, and he can light it up at times.
He can,
and then
at times.
Yeah, and then, you know, other days he's going to make some really big mistakes. And as you said, Ron, he made so many of them in the red zone area, the scoring area, where it costs his team so much. Drew Brees is different. He's more cautious with the ball. He's careful with that football and doesn't turn it over as much.
A lot of criticism coming out of San Diego that the Chargers didn't try to get something for him. They just basically let him walk in free agency, didn't try to trade him. But the Saints are happy he's on board. Had some trouble getting the ball to hold up. A little bit windy here in Green Bay, so they'll take out an extra man and Chris DeLoach.
It's scary quiet too right now, Ron.
Yeah.
You know, it's scary quiet. The Packers have got to make something happen. I think if Brett Favre can get back to Tony Driver, we talked about that Driver early in the game. He found him, made some big plays.
And a quick look at the first half. Started off, as you said, all Green Bay, and it really started off Aaron Campman. 2 sacks, 1 for a fumble and a recovery. A rough pass by Breeze, intercepted by Al Harris. And then Favre got to work with a good field position. That was Jennings. The Saints came back, held on, had some nice punt return yardage. McAllister there. And then you just saw the pump and go to Devery Henderson. They'll throw this one inside, and it's caught by David Martin. .42 seconds and counting. Green Bay with no timeouts left. Throw outside to Ahman Green. Green trying to get out of bounds, fumbles it out of bounds. And that'll stop the clock. Shanley on the tackle. Don't forget the Visa Halftime Report coming up with Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. All the scores and highlights in the Fox Sports ticker. We'll get you caught up here in about 30 seconds.
Brett Favre runs a 2-minute drill as well as anybody in pro football. But he's got to be careful because right now he cannot make a mistake with this ball. He can't give the Saints another opportunity to go in and score again. It'll kill the Packers' momentum.
You're looking at a 2nd down and about 3. Going up top, and it's not there. Intended for Robert Ferguson. Bullets coming over from the safety position on the coverage.
It's hard, Ron, when teams are in 2 deep coverage. They've got those 2 deep safeties, got an umbrella defense around your offense. You got to find seams, and really you've got to work for some first downs if you have time. Favre's problem is there's only 25 seconds left in the first half, so he's thinking big play.
Yeah, well, they got all those plays in the beginning of the game in the great field position. But you saw that graphic there on the 3rd down, not good. The half roll. That one's way overhead. And that would bring up a 4th down intended for Ravel Martin. And you could see this momentum swinging, as I mentioned a few series ago, Coach.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Green Bay comes out, everything goes right. They have all the momentum in the world. The Saints look like they're on the ropes. Somehow they hang on. All of a sudden they recapture the momentum. I think Mike McCarthy needs to go back in at halftime and get his team settled back down again and say, hey guys, we're 1 point down. We're still in this game.
Right.
A lot of good things happen, a lot of bad things. Let's keep playing hard.
Ryan will punt away to Reggie Bush. The Saints still have 2 timeouts left. And here goes Reggie Bush. Hop someone at about the 32-yard line, 45-yard punt. And a decent return by Bush. Bush was outstanding at USC in the special teams game. 12.7 yard return career average on punt returns, 3 touchdowns. And he's actually replacing Michael Lewis. Remember Michael Lewis, their star return man, recovering from knee surgery. Injured week 2 of last year, still not back yet.
Well, and Lance Moore did a good job returning punts for him in the first half, too.
And the Saints are happy to go in with the 1-point lead after starting out 13-zip. And what are you going to say to him? You mentioned, hey, just keep doing what you're doing if you're the Saints, right? Smith, we are live here in Green Bay at halftime. The New Orleans Saints have fought their way back. And not only did they fight back, they are leading by 1. Really an amazing story because they started out so bad, and it just had to do with the turnovers.
Well, no question. Those turnovers were so disruptive to the Saints. And I think Green Bay had a real chance there to take advantage of them. They put points on the board off those turnovers.
Right.
And it was like 2 different games. The first quarter belonged all to Green Bay. The second quarter belonged all to the Saints. The Saints, you got to give them credit. They hung in the game. They lead by 1.
And, you know, Reggie Bush, we expected another big performance from him like last week, but it's been very quiet coming out of the first quarter. He only had 20 total yards. And I mentioned that he hasn't been able to get that corner quite like he did last week and last year, but I think the Packers came in well scouted with them, knowing they had to keep it from getting that corner.
Well, the Packers defense played a lot better today than they played last week, and I think one of the things is the Saints really didn't run the ball very well. They had difficulty trying to rush the ball, and I think as the game went along, the Packers defense just hung in there and controlled Reggie Bush. No
Right.
big plays. If you can keep Bush from making big plays, you've got a chance to play good defense.
Yeah, and like we say, the big difference is right there. Turnovers, 3 by New Orleans, thus the big hole in the beginning of the game. And the points off the turnovers, Green Bay was able to capitalize off of it. And there's a look at your fantasy guys. Drew Brees, solid today. Ahman Green hasn't been able to get going, and I think that's going to be the key later on here in the second half. For the latest in fantasy stats, remember to log on to foxsports.com. And we are ready for the kickoff here. In the second half, John Carney will kick it away. We'll go with Corin Robinson back deep, along with Renan Morency. Corin Robinson just brought in as a street free agent. A lot of controversy. Was cut by the Minnesota Vikings in training camp after picking up another DUI. A lot of people here in the Green Bay area said, hey, we've already got enough issues. Let's not complicate the picture. But the Packers said, hey, we need a return man. And this will be that return man, Robinson at the 10. He went to the Pro Bowl last year for special teams with the Vikings. Gets back up to about the 28-yard line. Jason Kraft on the tackle, and they squirm and squab a little bit down there. Robinson is right in the middle of it. While they squabble a little bit, let's go down to the third member of our crew, Drew Smith.
Hey guys, Mike McCarthy coming off the field said it's all about momentum. They get the ball first in this half. They have to make something happen. The penalties killed them. The turnovers were great, but they got to do that. Coach Payton said, yeah, they want to keep that momentum with them. It's all about the big Mo down here, guys.
We mentioned momentum going in, and right now it's pretty much about an even game. Look at the first 3 drives and the last 4. If that doesn't scream of a loss of momentum, I don't know what does. Play action pass right out of the gate. Drop Ahman Green. Coach, would you call those mental errors? I know it's a physical thing, but just focusing and catching the ball.
Yeah, you know, you would think that when the Packers come out of halftime, they know how important it is that they put together a nice drive, get back in this ball game. Brett Favre right there hits Ahman Green right in the hands. He drops it. You know, you wonder about their enthusiasm right now. You know, you get in that locker and you've had a tough opening game. You wonder, oh, this is the same old thing again. You know, are we going to lose? And you have to fight through that as an athlete.
They'll go to Green looking for the cutback, and Green talked to us a lot about this new offense and new guys up front. He said, I've got 2 rookies inside at the guard position, and they had a rough game last week. Jason Spitz started for college, but he said, listen, I'm with you guys for 15 games, okay? So just get it together and let's play some football.
Well, Green Bay is very, very young inside, as you mentioned, Ronnie. The Saints have done an awfully good job against that zone scheme today. There's not been a lot of running room for Ahman Green.
3rd down and 8. Jennings has it. He's got to make some moves, and he's going to look to be about a yard short of the first down, a full yard. No, that's a first.
Greg Jennings on the outside here. He's going to run a little, just an inside slant route. Favre's going to deliver the ball, and then he's going to make a little move to the outside and fight for that first down. This is a guy that has to come along for the Packers. Greg Jennings, Robert Ferguson, somebody else has got to help Donald Driver open up the throwing game.
They push him back. They give him the yardage forward. 1st and 10. Trouble. Green has it on the outside. And Ahman Green is out to about the 45-yard line. Driven out of bounds by Mike McKenzie.
Brett Favre can get rid of the ball really from any angle. He can work a route, he can pump fake, and then all of a sudden he lets it go sidearm almost. You know, that's one of the great things about him. He can improvise so well, has done it for years.
A pickup of 7. They'll get a motion here by Driver. Martin in the backfield. The end around. He's got to deal with McKenzie. And he dealt with it. Driver deep in the Saints territory. Driven out of bounds finally by Roman Harper, 16 yards.
Ronnie, I don't want to say I told you so, but
Tell me.
Donald Driver, keep finding ways to get this guy the ball. This guy, whether you hand it to him, whether you throw it to him, this guy is a competitor. Brett Favre said he has the best attitude of anybody on this football team. This man loves to play.
And you would think McKenzie would know a little something about that move, but apparently not. Driver, 7th year out of Alcorn State. A 7th round pick way back in '99. This is Green. Green been trying to get that cutback all day. Getting a couple. He got 3.
Fred Thomas on the tackle.
And there's a look at Driver today, rushing after that one big run, and the receiving.
Second and 7.
Keep working the ball to him. He'll open up Jennings and Ferguson on the other side. That's what you've got to do to create balance within your throwing game.
Driver, 3 career 1,000-yard games. Signed a 4-year contract extension in the offseason. He's going to be here a while, at least as long as that man's here. 2nd and 7. Noah Herring checks in for Ahman Green.
Harper on the stop.
This is a nice drive for the Packers, Ron. You know, you come out, get the opening kickoff, you've made your halftime adjustments, you're down 1 point, you move the ball, pick up a few first downs. You certainly have gained field position, if nothing else. And field position is critical in football, but the Packers, if they can get some points here, they'll regain that momentum we talked about that they lost after the first quarter.
3rd down. Fake the handoff to Herring. Driver. Driver's got it. Bubba Franks recovers it. They are saying down by contact, but it's enough for the first down.
It's a little bootleg pass by Brett Favre. He'll come out, he'll run a little draw fake, comes out, he finds Driver on the crossing route. It's a good catch. The ball hits, Driver hits the ground, the ball pops up, Franks is there. They've ruled it down, but it's certainly a first down for the Packers. They're moving the ball.
Boy, I don't know, because he's got to catch that ball past the ground. That's Jennings inside. The Saints didn't challenge it, but I don't know if he possesses that ball past the ground.
The Packers did a good job getting up on the line of scrimmage and running another play before it could be challenged.
I mean, it's a clean scoop out of the air by Bubba Franks. But they marked it back where he fumbled it. 2nd down and 5. Franks. And Franks has some catches going today. There's one, and that's going to be just in front of the first down marker.
You know, Ron, it feels like Green Bay went into the locker room and decided to come out and throw this ball in the second half.
Yeah.
They're looser. You know, all of a sudden the running game, which they want to rely on, they can't get it going with Ahman Green. So now all of a sudden they're saying, hey, let Brett Favre loosen up this defense with some throws. Donald Driver, Bubba Franks. Maybe they get Jennings involved.
Well, that's one thing that Favre told us. He wanted to see more multiple sets and spread people out and move the ball more in those formations. We've seen a little of that. Green, and Green will have the first down easily. Don't forget, Packer head coach Mike McCarthy spent 4 years as the Saints offensive coordinator. And the previously inept New Orleans offense set 10 team records, including an NFC best 432 points, as well as 49 touchdowns back in 2002 when he was at the helm as OC. First and 10, handoff to Green. And with the 10 new head coaches in the NFL this year, here's a look at some of them. Peyton, of course, with the big win against Cleveland. McCarthy with the big loss, the first shutout here in Green Bay since '91. Scott Linehan, that was a surprise. We talked about that.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I thought Brad Childers was a surprise. Washington getting beat by by his Minnesota team. That surprised me.
2nd down and 9. Martin in motion, sets up as a fullback. They'll fake it, look for the turn. There was contact early, and it's incomplete. Roman Harper came down and hit Bubba Franks. Thought he was a little early.
Bubba Franks is standing up here as a wideout. He's going to run a crossing route on this bootleg route. He's just going to try to get in behind the linebackers off the play fake. He's open temporarily, but the ball is late. I don't know, Ronnie. I think that's a pretty good defensive play.
Usually it's the other way around. You say I'm favoring the DBs.
I know it.
But he came in there.
I think that was a clean play.
We'll give it to him. 3rd and about 9. What a catch. Driver. And Driver's got a first. And the fans want a flag, and they're going to get it. That'll be unsportsmanlike conduct on the body slam.
And Donald Driver's laughing about it. He said Brett Favre taught him how to be tough. You can watch him in the slot. Here he is. He's going to run across the field. He'll shake, come inside, find himself a little zone, catches the ball for the 1st down. And then he gets the old body slam.
What was Roman Harper thinking about? That's a rookie move there. He's already beaten you for the catch. You don't get points for the body slam.
I love the way Donald Driver came up smiling and laughing.
That was just a waste of energy. But that's Driver. He does a lot of that. He's a guy that genuinely enjoys the game, and Favre is genuinely upset before the flag came out.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 41 of the defense. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 88, offense. The penalties were offset. Result of the play is 1st down.
Wow. They call the penalty on Bubba Franks. You know what? Bubba Franks just went over and said, hey, don't body slam my guy again, okay?
Boy, it didn't look like that was, you know, you don't know what was said. You know, the official's right there, but boy, that didn't look very flagrant to me.
Favre going end zone, plenty of time. The rush finally comes. The blooper intended for Henderson, and it's intercepted, yes. Omar Stoutmire, the free agent from Washington, comes down with the red area interception and a huge play for the New Orleans Saints. So the Saints dodge a bullet, maybe get a break on the penalty, and they stay ahead by 1.
Freedom.
Brett Favre is trying to get the ball here to Donald Driver on the outside. You can watch the Saints. They have him in bracket coverage. There's 2 of them there that take him away right there. Now Favre starts to scramble, gets hit as he's throwing. The ball pops up in the air. Turnover Saints. A huge play in this game.
The first interception in 3 years for Omar Stoutmire. And a big play in the middle. Joe Horn could go the distance. Manuel has to run him down, and he does. And just like that, after a 15-play drive, which ended up in absolutely nothing for Green Bay, the Saints come down with 57 big ones.
Now you talk about Joe Horn making a big play. Here he is in the slot. He's going to just run inside. Number 51, Papinga, is on him, and that's not much of a matchup. Every time, Joe Horn's going to win that one.
Papinga struggled last week against the Chicago Bears. The fans called for his head, and it looked like he failed to get a reroute or a good jam on that one.
Well, you talk about a shift in momentum that's unbelievable. The Packers are about to score. The Saints come back with great field position, a huge play.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
that 57-yard pass play to Joe Horn, the longest for Horn since 2000. He was in and out of the tub last year with a bad hamstring, missed 3 games, never really got on track, but he got on track there. And Popenga forces the pressure. Ball intended for Conwell, but it's incomplete. Let's go down to Drew Smith.
Well, guys, Coach Payton said at halftime that definitely they were trying to catch those matchups, and you mentioned it earlier on. They want to get Joe Horn the football. They got to present him with good matchups. Lining him up against a linebacker, that's a good matchup.
Joe Horn doing what he's done throughout his career here in New Orleans, making the big plays. 2nd and 10. They'll go with the draw, and a nice tackle in the hole by Cullen Jenkins. Let's go for this game break and Chris Rose. Boy, they talk an awful lot about Eli Manning and the Giants, but it's not happening right now.
Boy, you talk about a big 3rd down play in the game,
Yes.
Ron, after that huge turnover. If the Packers, they're going to call timeout. They're a little disorganized there. They're going to get a good timeout.
And that is a smart one because Ahmad Carroll was late lining up. He's already been toasted once.
The Packers had 12 guys on the field to start that play. They had to call timeout as a result of it. You can see all 12 of them right there. And sure enough, it was a good timeout by the defense. You don't want to have a penalty in that situation.
Ahmad Carroll ran off the bench trying to get on the field. 3rd down and 9. A pump again, pressure, fumble. Recovered by New Orleans. Looked like Campen again.
Aaron Campman is having a real game. Watch him here on the left side. You talk about just a bull rusher, someone that never stops on a play. He pushes outside, comes inside, and then gives up his body to strip that ball.
Coach, I got one question. Why are you trying to block him with a tight end? Not that Mark Campbell isn't a very good blocker, but he's still a tight end.
Well, you don't want that matchup.
45 yards for Carney. He was perfect 4 for 4 last week. His longest was 43. The wind is blowing, though. High snap. Gets it down, pushes it through. Carney is solid. So the New Orleans Saints, with a big play, thanks to Joe Horn, come down, get 3 points.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Miller Lite and the Men of the Square Table. Good Call by Schick Quattro Titanium. The power of 4 meets titanium. By Samsung, the official HD TV of the NFL. And by Reebok, 1,800 players, 1,800 stories, one outfitter. Reebok, official outfitter of the NFL.
That's a look at the Fox Cities Center of Performing Arts in Appleton, Wisconsin. About 40 minutes down the road here, and here's a guy who's definitely putting on a performance today. Aaron Campman now with his 3rd sack. 2 of those sacks forced fumbles, and he has tied his career high of 3 that he set last year against the Minnesota Vikings. Robinson at the goal line. Robinson, not much today. Barely back out past the 15-yard line. Aaron Stecker hustling down for the tackle. 17-13, New Orleans. 17-13, New Orleans by 4. The Saints started off down 13-zip. Right now, they have 17 unanswered points that they put on the board. Packer offense has to get it going. They had it going. Brett Favre threw an interception after a long drive down by the goal line. Let's go back to that sack and fumble by Aaron Campman.
Well, you know, it was good coverage by the secondary of the Packers. They've got tight man-to-man coverage on all 3 of the receivers, and Drew Brees has to hold the ball, and consequently, Campman is able to come in and make the sack and end the drive. And that was a huge stop for the Packers. If they give up a touchdown there, all the momentum is back to the Saints. But 3 points, hey, they're 1 touchdown down. They're still in the game.
Campman gets credit for the sack. Baja Biamila actually got there first and grabbed the ankle of Brees. A drop. A couple of those today. MEs, as they say, mental errors. That one on Franks. The New Orleans Saints trying to come in here and get this win. Last year, as we talked about, got blasted 52-3. But the Saints have never won here in Lambeau, and they're 1-8 in the state of Wisconsin. In fact, the last time they won in the state was 1971 down in Milwaukee County Stadium. 3rd down and 9. They'll spread them out. Looking quick inside, it's not there. Pressure by Grant. Still looking. The comeback throw, it's complete to Jennings, but he's well short of the first down. That'll bring on the punting unit for the Packers.
I think Brett Favre here is trying to go to Donald Driver with the ball again, and I don't blame him. He's trying to find him on the inside slant. He's not there. He's not open. So Favre scrambles around, finds an open receiver, but it's short of the sticks. Anytime that receiver, he's got to get to that first down marker. He's got to know where it is, and he's got to get that first down marker so the quarterback can hit him with the ball.
Ryan to Bush. Bush is going to have some room. Bounces outside, looking to turn the corner. Nice job by the Packers special teams. Popenga on the tackle. Tuesday night on Fox, catch an all-new episode of the Emmy Award-winning smash hit House at its all-new time, Tuesday, 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised. So the Saints will set it up at about the 42-yard line with a chance to go to work with Reggie Bush and McAllister. You can see in the upper right-hand corner of our Fox box, we have the scores updating you. There's a swing pass to Bush. Jukes one man, that's Barnett. Barnett is not even close, and Bush will have more than enough for the first down as he's out across the 50-yard line and into Packer territory. 23 yards on the swing pass.
Well, if you're Drew Brees, just throw a little swing pass to Reggie Bush, let him do the rest, and he's doing it against one of the best linebackers in the game, 56, Nick Barnett right there. No one plays middle linebacker any better in the National Football League, I don't believe, than Nick Barnett, and he just couldn't stay with Reggie Bush.
Bush said before the game, I'm glad it's not the frozen tundra this time of year. But this is a historical place to play, and I'm so excited to play on the opposite side of Brett Favre. I may ask him for an autographed jersey. And that should have been intercepted. It won't get any easier for Brady Popenga. Four drops by the offense, and just add one by the defense. Popenga's had a rough start here in Green Bay.
Well, he's had particularly trouble with coverage. That's been his biggest thing. He's run supported pretty well, made some good plays in the running game, but when he gets isolated one-on-one against a guy like Joe Horn, he's going to get beat.
2nd and 10. Throw out to Bush, and Bush is inside the 30-yard line. Giving the fans a little high five. It's great what he said last week about playing football. He said the hardest part about the NFL is just the terminology and the blitz pickup. Knowing where I got to go, the running is easy.
Yeah, and as those blitzes get heavier as that season wears along, after he hits a 10 or 11 game mark and he gets into game 14 and 15,
right,
those blitzes will be real heavy.
Coach mentioned earlier, Sean Payton wants to give Bush about 25 touches a game. That can be offense, special teams, running, passing, whatever. That would nearly intercept it. If Woodson turns around, he's going the other way. Intended for Colston.
Woodson makes a nice play right here in the slot. They're going to run a little out route here. You can watch Woodson. He'll play real tight man coverage. He won't get picked. And then all of a sudden he makes a break on the ball. That's excellent deep B work right there. They tried to pick him a little bit with the outside receiver, but he'd have none of it.
47-yard field goal for Carney. He just hit from long distance the series before. He hit from 45 the series before. Snap is down. It's drifting a little, but it's true. Carney is unconscious, and he's thumping on the Green Bay Packers. The lead is now by 7. On October 3rd, Fox Sports is once again your home for the most dramatic, compelling, and heartbreaking month in sports. Beginning with the Divisional Series, then exclusive coverage of the Championship Series and the World Series. Major League Baseball, the postseason, right here on Fox. And a quick look at the wild card standings in the NL. The San Diego Padres started off on fire, but the Philadelphia Phillies have since tracked them down.
I think my Padres are going to hang in there.
You think they might?
Yeah,
Right.
I think they're going to hang. I know they've faltered here down the stretch a little bit, but
They're faltering.
yeah, I know it, but I think they're going to hang.
And John Carney, no falter in his game so far. 6 of 6 this year. 3 from 3 from 40 yards or more. Talk about weapons, coach.
Yeah, to have him in your back pocket and know how reliable he is gives a coach a great deal of confidence.
And he's putting the ball 2 yards deep in the end zone. For a guy that's been in the league 17 years, that's almost unheard of. Usually they bring in extra kickers to just kick off.
Carney right now seems to be getting better with age.
Yes.
You know, Ron, you go back when this second half started and the Packers came out, had that really nice drive to start the second half. They get all the way down there. Favre throws the interception. The Saints line up. They hit Horn with the big play,
Right.
get him isolated on a linebacker. They get 3 points. Then the Saints hold. They get the ball back, score another 3 points. But the Packers are 1 touchdown out of this. This game is very, very much within the reach of the Packers.
Just like the Saints were 1 touchdown from being out of it for the entire first half. 3:02 left to play here in the third quarter. Looking deep, going deep, and it's overthrown. Great coverage by Jason Kraft. 20 unanswered points now for the New Orleans Saints. When you talk about what has gone on down in New Orleans, they are about 1,000 tickets short of having a sellout. The first time in a long time down there. They attribute it to the bringing in of Reggie Bush, number 1, and what he's been able to do to the community down there and all the support. And
Drew Brees, number 2.
Drew Brees,
a new
number 2.
quarterback who can orchestrate this whole thing.
Ahman Green almost broke that one. They've been pounding, and he almost got loose. Roman Harper saved the big one.
There's a lot of ways to run a tailback, sometimes in his own play, sometimes with a lead play. Watch Bubba Franks right here, the tight end. He's going to act as a fullback on this particular play and isolate on the linebacker. Does a nice job of squaring him up, and all of a sudden, Ahman Green finds a crease.
3rd down and 3. Went deep, caught, first down, Donald Driver. Nice play. They ran 2 guys out in the flat. Driver went out to the flat along with Robert Ferguson, and the Saints took the bait and didn't keep up with Driver.
Donald Driver's in the slot right here. He's going to run down the field out into this area right out there. You can watch all that grass. He's going for the grass. Brett Favre knows exactly where to lay that ball.
Well, we saw that in practice, Coach, and I've been hearing all this stuff about Brett Favre and maybe his arm is going. I don't buy it, because I saw him throw the 7 route or the post corner on a line, and when a quarterback can do that, there's nothing wrong with his arm strength. Great job of avoiding as he just chucks this one away. Charles Grant is on the pressure, and Favre is lighting some guys up.
Brett,
Love to see that.
Brett Favre right now is really getting after Bubba Franks. He didn't like the route he ran. He took a real hit here from the Saints defense, but watch his personality. I mean, this guy has personality. You know, you talked about his arm strength. I agree with you, Ronnie. There's nothing wrong with his arm. He just doesn't have enough weapons right now around him. Donald Driver's 1, but he needs more than 1.
2nd down and 10. Hand off inside to Green. Nice hit in the hole. Scott Fujita says not here.
I'll tell you one thing I have noticed about Brett Favre, though, as he's gotten older, his throwing decisions are not quite as good as they used to be. He forces more balls in there, and I think one of the reasons he does that is he wants to win so desperately. You know, he's been on the mountaintop. Now he's with a team that isn't as talented, and this guy will force balls in there. Not that he doesn't have a good arm. He's just trying to make something happen.
Good point. 3rd down and 8. You can hear him tell Green to stay there. He's got Driver on the 7. If he can put it in, he does! Donald Driver with a spectacular catch. And that is just what we were talking about. There's nothing wrong with Brett Favre's arm strength or his accuracy. That was a perfect throw in perfect coverage.
Well, Donald Driver is going to run down and then take it outside, and he runs to grass. You always have wide receivers run to open field, run to grass, and Brett Favre threw a perfect ball. The Packers have got to get this ball in for a touchdown. They cannot settle for a field goal right here.
I hope all of our fans watching can understand how good of a throw that was. I mean, to drop that ball just over McKenzie's shoulder, but not so far. The Driver couldn't get it. As you look at Henderson here, Herron. I mean, that is just spectacular. And Driver has gone over 100 yards receiving. And he deserves a blow because he has worked, and that should be the last play of the 3rd quarter.
I think when you look at the momentum swings in this game, it's been incredible. 1st quarter, all Packers. 2nd quarter, all Saints. Then you come back, Packers have a heck of a drive early in the game, but now the Saints are on top.
That's the end of the 3rd, 23. New Orleans will be back after these messages. And a beautiful package put together by all of our guys down in the truck. Excellent job, guys, as we start the 4th and final quarter here in Green Bay. And Brett Favre is having something to say about those 20 unanswered points by the New Orleans Saints. He's knocking at the door, ball at the 6-yard line. He has put together about 3 spectacular throws on this drive. 2nd and goal. The quick one, Jennings. Hit by Bullocks, maybe down to the 3.5, 4-yard line. And here's the look at the 3rd quarter stats. The turnovers, the points off turnovers, that was the big thing for the Saints in the 1st half, and they were able to limit those. But the Saints not running the ball.
No,
I mean, they've been very good against the run game.
And the Packers have moved the ball in the 3rd quarter, 150 yards total offense. That's a good quarter.
Empty backfield. This one should come out quick. Fake the fade. Touchdown Packers. Robert Ferguson. Ferguson with his first touchdown of the year, and the Packers are about to tie this thing up.
And it came at the most opportune time.
Green Bay had the lull. Coming into the 3rd quarter, they woke up, and so did that man, Brett Favre, and the Saints know it. We're tied up.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Man of the Year, starring Robin Williams, in theaters everywhere October 13th. By Circuit City. By Wendy's new Frescata Italiana sandwich. Do Wendy's, do what tastes right. And by Cadillac.
The scoring drive, 9 plays, 80 yards. And Favre 4 of 6 for 72 yards on the drive. Just spectacular. And he hit that man, Ferguson, for the touch. Stecker 2 yards deep. Reverse, no, they fake it. Maybe they should have handed it off. Stecker down at about the 18. Tracy White on the tackle. Go back to the touchdown.
Robert Ferguson is on the outside. He's going to run a little slant route Ravel Martin's on the inside. He's going to push up into the outside, and they're like two cars passing in the night. They just pass each other there. Favre hits Ferguson for the touchdown. Could not have come at a more important time for Green Bay psychologically.
And you saw what Favre did. He actually faked the fade route, trying to get the DBs to turn their feet, and then threw back inside for the slant. Bush looking to get outside. Can't do it. All he did is twist his knee. Collins says, not here.
Holding. Number 76. Offense. Half the distance to the goal. Remains first down.
Fraction on the play. And Brett Favre with that touchdown, 398 career touchdowns, two away, from 400. Like what he told us in the meeting room the other day. He says, you know, the longer I'm in this business, the more I think like a coach. And that's good and bad sometimes. I know when I'm messing up, but the good part is I know when everybody else is messing up, and I know what we got to do to move the football.
Well, he talked about when he was younger, he was fearless. Thought he was indestructible, and he's gotten older. He realizes he's vulnerable, and bad things can and will happen to him. And it's interesting, the psychology of how that happens as you get older.
He said he used to cheer when the teams like the 49ers and the Cowboys, you know, the teams that maybe they struggled with for a little bit, were starting to fade out. And he would see the guys like Elway and Aikman and Marino as their careers ended. He said, you know what? One day I realized that could happen to me. 1st and 19. Saints backed up with a penalty. Separation, Colston. And he's out close to the 20-yard line. You talk about Brett Favre, you talk about one of the true Iron Men in all of professional football. Most consecutive starts there of all the active quarterbacks by far.
Boy, you don't think of the separation between he and the rest of the group, you know, as being that dramatic.
3rd down. Second down and 11. Another throw, another catch. And a wrap-up by A.J. Hawk.
Packers defense right now is fired up. They're obviously rising to the occasion. This will be a great hold for the Packers. If they can stop this 3rd down attempt by the Saints, get the ball back, they're going to get outstanding field position. They've got a chance to recapture the momentum once again. The momentum in this game has gone back and forth dramatically for both teams.
3rd down and 6. The Horn is man-to-man on Al Harris at the bottom of your screen. Throw inside, drop. Lance Moore, first-year man out of Toledo, had it. And that's a huge drop. And that will bring on the punting unit for the Saints. And he's going to get some from Peyton.
Lance Moore is going to go in motion, number 16. Right here, you can watch him, and he's going to run a little crossing route underneath. He gets open. He's wide open. He makes a nice little move inside.
Oh.
He's got to catch that ball. Sean Payton, painful.
This will be Woodson. Woodson breaks the first wave. Can't get away from the second. Almost had something going. The center, Kevin Hauser, hustling down for the tackle. 40 yards on the punt. Couple on the return. And a frustrated Sean Payton. There's a look at Brett Favre's first and second half numbers. And, you know, they really don't tell a story because they got the turnovers in the short field in the first half. But I think he's done his best work here in the second half, particularly on that last drive.
I agree with you, Ron, and I think by keeping it loose on offense, it gives the Packers their best chance to win.
Speaking of keeping it loose, Will Smith with a big sack. He takes down Brett Favre. Let's go out to Los Angeles. Chris Rose with his game break.
All right, Ron, a wild one in Minnesota. Ryan Longwell throwing it, not picking it on the fake field goal. This one to Richard Owen, 16 yards to the score. Vikings and Panthers knotted at 13. Back to Ron and Terry in Green Bay.
Well, Minnesota with the new uniforms, pulling out a little trickeration.
Well, that was a huge sack right there by Will Smith. You get behind the down and distance now.
Flag is down. Second sack of the year for Will Smith, a loss of 12.
False start, number 75, offense. 5-yard penalty remains, second down.
Rookie right guard, Tony Mall, just got a little anxious there. You can understand why. You know, he's only played in 2 NFL games. Young player, but certainly they think he's going to be a fine player for the Packers. The organization's very high on him, as they are on Darren College.
Mall, a converted tight end, played tight end throughout college, most of college, and comes up here and they say, hey, guess what? You're a guard now. Second in huge distance, 27. The seam throw, and it's not there. Intended for Jennings. It looked as though it was maybe he had David Martin down the seam as well.
Brett Favre had some pressure this time. The Saints coming with a little front pressure and just keep Bryant Young there, just keeps coming on him. And sure enough, Favre takes another pretty good hit.
I'll tell you who else took a hit. Right tackle Mark Tauscher got rolled on after that hit by Brian Young.
Got to be careful, 3rd and 27. You just don't want to make a mistake with the ball here.
And they are conservative, coach. They're going to play for the punt. The delayed draw, and Whitehead with the tackle. And Brett Favre was hot at the official about something. Boy, he let Pete Morelli have it from the time Green went down.
Yeah, I don't think it was that play, Ronnie. I think that was an outcry from the previous play. But you know, a lot of fans think that's a bad call. But you're 3rd down and 27. You know, you better be careful with the ball, particularly in this area of the field.
Bush will take this one at the 25. He'll go a middle return. Great coverage by the Packers all day, especially on Bush. 52-yard punt, 10 yards on the return. We're tied.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Cadillac.
Back in Green Bay, Ron Pitts, Terry Donahue, Drew Smith. We are knotted up at 20. 10:47 left to play. The 1st and 10 for Drew Brees and the Saints. They'll play action pass it. The quick throw outside to McIntyre. Did he have it long enough for a fumble? No.
Nice play by Brady Papinga there. Had tight coverage on McIntyre, stripped the ball. Actually, it was a catch for a second. He stripped the ball with his hands. Made a nice play.
Saints running backs last week in Cleveland. And then today, quite a difference. Haven't been able to run that ball, and the Packers have been especially tough on that man inside early. They know that's the guy they had to shut down first. 2nd down pass. The flare route to Bush. Bush trying to make the corner. Nick Collins pushes him out of bounds.
You talk about a big 3rd down again, Ron. Here we are. You know, we've got about 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 right here. And if the Packers can hold and get Brett Favre, Donald Driver, and company back on offense, they've got a real chance to go ahead here in the 4th quarter. The fans are into this now, and Favre is into it on the sideline. They're all into it.
3rd down and 6. Joe Horn and Henderson at the bottom of the screen in the slot. Looks the backside to Bush, and Bush with an easy 1st down. Bush slow to get up. Takes his gold Adidas and makes the 1st down easily for the New Orleans Saints.
Reggie Bush lines up in the slot outside, and he's just going to run a little out route, a little seam route. Drew Brees just drops back, finds him, exchanges the ball, and Bush is such an exciting player in the open field. You give him that much space now, he's going to make it first.
You know, it's just, you're going to get bad matchups. Even when you bring down a guy like Collins who can cover a little bit, it's still a tough matchup because he's a running back that plays like a wide receiver. McAllister had an opening for a second. as he pushes towards midfield. Topenga in on the tackle. A lot of passing today. Neither team able to get the run game going. And we talked about Bush, 5 passes on third down last week. That was the most in the NFL. Today, he's got 4 on third down. Great management, though, by Sean Payton. If you had any question marks about how he would use a big weapon like Bush, he's answered them.
And he's been tempted to overuse him. He even said that. He said, I want to give him the ball every play.
Second and long. Turn route inside the Horn. And this is where a guy like Drew Brees you count on to be good. Pickup of 12. He's got to be accurate. You can't make the stupid throw.
Well, and when he wants to release the ball and put some steam on it, people wondered about his shoulder following surgery, but he throws this little stop route to Joe Horn. The ball's on a rope. He doesn't probably have quite the arm strength of Brett Favre, but he certainly has enough arm strength to get the ball there.
5 catches for 88 yards today for Joe Horn. Campbell in motion. Packers will play man-to-man. Throw inside. Broken up. There's the flag. They're going to get Ahmad Carroll. And Ahmad Carroll has had a problem with this in the past.
Pass interference. Number 28, defense, automatic first down.
And as you mentioned, Ahmad Carroll got beat earlier in the game for a touchdown. Here he's up, bump and run, tight coverage. But I'll tell you what, Marcus Colston's a big body. He's a big guy to try to defend like that. Sometimes those kind of guys you got to stay off of because they're so physical. Carroll's not going to like that matchup very much up there tight with that big guy.
The problems I was referring to earlier were the pass interference problems. He's had those here in the past. First and 10, new set, going deep. Colston, he underthrew it, caught it anyway, touchdown Packers. Collins the victim.
Drew Brees has plenty of time. It's a nice play action fake. The offensive line does a great job, allows Drew Brees all the time in the world to find big number 12 down there in the end zone. That guy, Marcus Colston, is going to light up the NFL. He's done it 2 weeks in a row, Ronnie.
The 257nd player picked in the NFL draft. The 7th round, the bottom of the barrel, was elated when he got invited to the combine with Hofstra, and he's showing the Saints if you can pick good in the 2nd round, 7th round. Brees to Colston, 35 yards on the touchdown. And we've been talking about that target, the big target. Not too many people know about him, but that's slowly changing.
Well, he's got too much speed, Ronnie, for a guy that with his height and his body type. This guy ran 4.5 at the combine. I mean, he can run fast.
I mean, this guy is like the new version of Wayne Corbett, the deluxe grand size Wayne Corbett. Robinson hasn't had much on returns all day. Reverses field. We're going to get in the chase down now. Gets back inside to about the 25-yard line. Let's go back to that touchdown to Colston.
Marcus Colston lines up in the slot here, right there, and he's just going to run down the field and run to the outside, and Nick Collins just can't cover him. He just doesn't have the coverage skills to match up with a wideout like that. And Drew Brees had great protection. As I said, he had all day to throw the ball. Brees excited. He knows when he gets that kind of protection with that big guy down the field, he's got 6 points.
Colston 4 catches for 58 yards and a touch. He had a touchdown last week. Fumble. The knee may have been down. There's no sign yet. And they are saying Saints ball. And I mentioned earlier that Green came into the game going 9 straight games with no fumble. But this looks as though it's going to go on the books. Watch right here. We've got Grant, the left defensive end. He makes a great play
on Amon Green right there, strips the ball. And I'll tell you what, it looks like.
Ooh, no, that ball's on the way out.
Yeah, that ball's on the way out.
Hit.
It came out before his knee hit. I don't think this is Saints ball. It's a great play by Grant, Charles Grant, coming up big for the Saints.
First and 10 run, McAllister. McAllister breaks through. Deuce is loose. Touchdown, Saints. 2 scores just that quick as they wipe out the cameraman.
Deuce.
Talk about a turn of events. Excuse me, Coach.
Deuce McAllister now on the zone play, just running behind the big left side of the offensive line. You're going to be able to watch those linemen just come off and zone block. McAllister finds that crease and puts the ball in the end zone. That's what you want on zone blocking. Big man coming off on big man. Running back, you find the crease.
And you saw Joe Horn came and got a block, and that was one of the things that Sean Payton said Joe Horn needed to do a better job of, is blocking downfield. Well, he blocked downfield on that one, and it might have made the difference in the score for Deuce McAllister.
Well, you talk about how quick turnovers can turn a game around.
Oh, man. And really, I didn't think there was any doubt that Amon Green did fumble this ball. Clearly, it's out before his knee touches. It's gone there. The knee isn't down, or at least you can't see it from that angle.
Just a great play by Charles Grant. Will Smith
with the recovery. Will Smith with the recovery, but Grant knocked it loose. And look at Horn, just enough. I mean, he's not going to get any pancake credits, but he did get in the way.
The cameraman, he got pancaked by Deuce McAllister. That's who got pancaked.
We said earlier, McAllister, the Saints' all-time leading rusher, sat out most of the season last year after a knee injury. Came back strong, lost weight. And boy, they ran him so much last year that in a way, I think he welcomes Reggie Bush and that other guy to take pressure off of him.
Sure, you take some of the heat off, some of the workload goes somewhere else. You know, you stay healthier. He's still going to get his 22, 25 touches a game. And as a running back, that's what you want. You don't necessarily want it 40 times, because over the course of a 16-game season, that's going to wear you down.
11 carries for only 45 yards, but he's been in the end zone twice. And it seems like McAllister is one of those guys, as you look at Bush there, that pays off for you one way or another. Either he has a big day yardage-wise on the ground, or he's in the end zone a lot. Robinson fumbles this ball at the 5-yard line. He's broken out. A flag is down. He's got to deal with Carney, and he's pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line, but it may come back with the flag. 36 yards on the return. They're going to get a hold against the Packers. And they're going to talk about it.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding. Number 29 of the receiving team. Offside, number 56 of the kicking team. Penalties will offset. Re-kick.
So after all that, we'll re-kick it. Thursday night on Fox. Don't miss Till Death, the new hit comedy starring Emmy winner Brad Garrett. Till Death, an all-new episode Thursday at 8, 7 Central right here on Fox. And for anyone who's about to get married, who's married, or doesn't want to be married anymore, that's the show to watch. It is hilarious. McAllister last year, like we said, with a short season, only 93 yards, but in 2004, played 14 games, went over $1,000, and went over $1,000 the 2 seasons before that. Over 1,600 yards back in 2003.
All-time leading rusher in the history of the Saints.
When you got a guy that can average 4.3 a crack, you've got something. And Amon Green Can't wait to get back on the field after that fumble. This will be Morency. Morency, a player just brought in this week. He pounds it up inside, close to the 35-yard line, 29 yards on the return. And the fourth quarter has been all about the New Orleans Saints. Got the pass interference by Ahmad Carroll, and then Colston just turns Nick Collins around, and then really the killer, the fumble by Amon Green, a nice block up front and on the outside. And Deuce is loose, minus a cameraman, and the Saints go up 34-20. So it's time for Favre and the Packers to really start airing it out. They've been throwing it all day. You know they're going to go there now. Green, at least a second drop today by Amon Green.
And if you include the fumble, it's 3 drops. You know?
Yeah, right.
And he just hasn't had his typically good game. He played very, very well last week. This week, his game isn't quite what it was last week, and he just hasn't been able to run the ball successfully. Their line hasn't opened the holes for him. I know Mike McCarthy came into this game really hoping that they could run the ball effectively and take some pressure off of Brett Favre. They've not been able to do that. Therefore, Favre's going to have to try to win it here with 7 minutes to go.
That usually means flirting with pitch. This one going deep. Looking for Ferguson, and it's knocked away. A diving effort at the last second by Fred Thomas, and that may have saved the touchdown. Boy, and Thomas is hurt.
Robert Ferguson is going to run deep. Favre's going to come off a play-action fake and put the ball deep, deep down the field. He's open momentarily, but all of a sudden, a great defensive play. No wonder he's hurt. What a play by Fred Thomas.
Fred Thomas sold out, and it came up good. There's a look at Fred Thomas, who made that spectacular play. And, you know, Fred Thomas is probably a guy that seems like he's always on the bubble down there in New Orleans. They bring guys in to try to take his job. You feel like this is going to be his last year there, but he hangs in there. He went through the coaching change, and now he's on the field as a starter making plays, and this is a 3rd and 10 for Favre. Favre in trouble. That one is in trouble, but caught somehow by Donald Driver. Amazing. And depending on where they mark it, that's going to be a first down.
Willie Whitehead, number 98, gets real good pressure on Brett Favre. He flushes him out. He's an inside rusher, and Favre moves around the pocket very, very well, buys a little time, and then kind of just throws it up for grabs, and somehow Donald Driver comes down with the ball.
Quick pressure there by Lake. Favre somehow got away from it. A comeback, that's open. Jennings looked as though he was going to get out of bounds, but he heads it upfield, and he's out to about the 31-yard line. 23 yards on the pickup.
Greg Jennings is going to run a deep comeback out, turn around, get the ball, and now show some of the running skill that the Packers folks have been excited about. They say that he's a very promising wideout, but he's just in his 2nd game. That was the best play I've seen him do in 2 games.
And there's an injured Saint on the field. That's Roman Harper, the starting strong safety, the rookie out of Alabama. Brought in as a 2nd-round pick this year. Going back to Jennings, he had an outstanding college career. 14 touchdowns last year, his senior year at Western Michigan, and that in an 11-game schedule. He put up some serious numbers. Don't forget, this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the Marlins and the Phillies meet at 12 Central as both teams try to gain ground in the race for the NL wild card, or the Angels try to stay alive in the AL West when they take on the A's, plus other regional action. Quick look at the AL East. Of course, the Yankees thumping heads as always. Boston thought they had a shot in there to take that division, but not so. Remaining wild card teams, Minnesota. First and 10. Nice effort there by Jennings. Play action. Wide open. Donald Lee. Donald Lee avoids one tackle. Gets out close to the first down. Check that. That's David Martin.
Nice job getting the ball out of bounds, conserving time. 6 minutes, 15 seconds to go in the game. Every second is important now to the Packers. They have 2 touchdowns down. There's still plenty of time to win this game.
Favre over 300 yards passing on the day. 304. Amon Green, and Green is inside the 20-yard line.
Really nice job by Brett Favre. He's looking all over the field here for an open receiver. He wants to go right, he wants to go left. He can't find anybody. Comes down to Amon Green. Amon catches the ball and makes the first down.
All pass, all the time. Packers got to get in the end zone. Green breaks through the first wave, down to about the 11-yard line. Green a little slow to get up.
You can watch Darren College, the left guard here. He's going to pull around and lead the play for the running back. Amon Green on the play right here, breaks a tackle. The one thing about Amon Green, he's so strong in his legs. He's got power that drives forward.
2 timeouts left for both teams. A fire inside, and that's caught. Martin with a second nice catch on this drive. That's down inside the 10 and a first. It'll be first and goal. Look at the red zone possessions today for the Packers. Last time Favre was in this end of the field, or in the red zone, he threw one up for grabs and it was intercepted. Batted away. Thomas on the coverage. And Robert Ferguson had that ball about as square as you can have it and not catch it. I thought it hit his chest.
Robert Ferguson lined up outside. He's just going to run inside. It's really good coverage by Thomas. He's tight. He breaks on the ball. The ball's a little bit behind him, though. It's in that back pocket. Plus, it was going 100 miles an hour, too.
The second one is not an allowable excuse here in Green Bay. Second and goal. Herron should walk in. Touchdown, Packers. So we put it on Favre, and he's used to having it on him because he took it down the field and put it in the end zone. Noah Herring making up a little bit for that kickoff return fumble last week against the Bears. Rayner puts it through.
Noah Herron lines up at the halfback position. Brett Favre looks off a little bit, but then gets him the ball. He's going to run right out here in the flat as quick as he can. Watch his release. He gets a clean release, ducks underneath. Favre hits him. He races to the end zone. Great play by Brett Favre.
That's the first career touchdown reception for Noah Herron. Of course, Brett Favre is happy as he brings his team a little closer. 34-27, 4:18 left to play here in the game. So now they got to get a quick turnover by the defense. Got to get the ball back.
The Packers have 2 timeouts. It's going to be important how they use it here. Time's the enemy of Green Bay, the ally of the Saints. If your defense, Ron, can go out there and play 3 and out, you've got nothing but time to win the game. But if the Saints can generate a couple first downs, they'll win the ball game. You'll use up your timeouts. The clock will expire. You won't be able to win it. So this next series is going to be critical for both teams.
Huge kick there by Rayner. That ball is out of the end zone. He's got a little wind behind his back, but we're not going to take anything away from him. Brett Favre on that last drive just threw it all around. You know, that was a key play, Coach, the big reception to Donald Driver, because they were in punt mode if he doesn't catch it. Martin got involved for 2, got Amon Green out of the backfield, and finally Noah Herron, 6-yard touchdown reception.
Donald Driver came up big all day long for Brett Favre, just like we thought he would.
Brett Favre on that drive, 6 of 9, 51 yards, with a grand total of 399 on the day. Quick look at the timeouts. Of course, the Saints will try to take everything they can off the clock.
That was a nice crash move by Baja Biamila. He really came down hard there. The Packers immediately called timeout. Really efficient use of their time there. That timeout, very critical to take it.
They've been scorched quite a bit in the secondary. But in this situation, Coach, a lot of times you're going to be in blitz mode, pressure mode, trying to make something happen, and you have to go man-to-man.
No question
on the outside.
about it. Yeah, I think that unless they get him in really long yardage, they're going to be in some tight coverage, and they're going to bring pressure, try to make Drew Brees make a mistake down here. You know, if you're the Saints, you're going to be thinking, hey, we're 7 up. We can't turn it over. If we have to, punt and play defense.
Right.
But let's be careful with the ball. We want to generate a couple first downs, but let's be careful with that ball.
You just saw Reggie Bush check in. 2nd down. The Packers now with 1 timeout left. They'll give it to Bush. Bush trying to get to the outside. Don't go out of bounds. He stays inbounds, run down nicely by A.J. Hawk.
Number 50, A.J. Hawk, can go sideline to sideline. So can Barnett, the middle linebacker. Both of these guys can run. That's why they drafted A.J. Hawk number 1 right there
exactly.
for that lateral pursuit.
A.J. Hawk says, hey, I went to a big school too. We played under the lights as well.
3rd down and 9. Do you blitz or you defend, Ron?
I say you got to bring it. Keep one free, go man-to-man like the Packers are doing. The quick expander to Bush. Make a tackle, and you're off the field. Nick Collins. He's been very solid in the open field tackle areas, especially going up against Reggie Bush today.
Well, you got to give the Packers credit. They got up there in bump and run coverage. They weren't afraid to play tight coverage in this situation. Drew Brees gets the ball out very quickly on a 3-step drop, but the pursuit of the Packers had Reggie Bush hemmed in.
And they tried to run a little pick play there, you see, with Devery Henderson, but good awareness once again by Collins.
Yeah, a little bubble screen. They tried to run it out there, but the Packers would have none of it. A great series for the Packers defense. They have a chance with 3:19. They've got the best 2-minute quarterback in the game, probably, arguably, for comeback, certainly. Brett Favre, right?
Absolutely.
Who would you rather have in this situation other than this guy? Maybe Peyton Manning?
Well, the guys I would rather have are retired. Elway or Montana. And a lot of pressure on this guy, Steve Weatherford. That's the rookie free agent. Mitch Berger, their longtime veteran. He is gone for the season with a hip injury. So Weatherford's got to get this ball out of here. Not a great kick. Woodson should have some time. Gets away from one. Trips. Goes down at the 42-yard line.
Ron, I don't know how it'll show up in the final stats, but that was a real play by Woodson on that punt. There was good coverage by the Saints. Woodson could have fair caught it, decided not to, gave him good field position.
Don't forget tonight, It's an all-new episode of The Simpsons, American Dad, Family Guy, The War at Home. It all starts at 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Your discretion is advised. So here we go. 3:09 left to play. Packers down by 7. Favre will start off firing. That one complete to David Martin, and Martin is still rolling. And just so you know, Brett Favre has 35 career fourth quarter comebacks. No timeouts left.
Second and 3 from the 48.
Go.
Another throw inside to Martin. Martin is inside the 45-yard line. Remember, they need 7. 3 won't get it. That was 8.
That's what quarterbacks like. They like those big tight ends inside, particularly in these situations. You can get 7, 8 yards.
Everyone here in Lambeau on their feet. Favre, plenty of time, throwing it back across his body to Green, and it can't work. He had man-to-man coverage by Will Smith, the defensive end. Talk about a mismatch. And a quick look at the game summary. The Saints started off great, had the early turnovers. The Packers started off great, given the early turnovers by the Saints. But then the Saints came back, and at one point, 20 unanswered points by the New Orleans Saints. Second down and 10. Smith trying to throw the screen backside to Martin, and he can't hold on. Great pursuit on the play. Right in his face is Will Smith.
Will Smith really broke through, had great pressure on this. As you said, they tried to move Brett Favre to his right, draw the defense, but they just couldn't get it done. Will Smith's pressure was too much. Favre couldn't get the ball over his head very well, and really the tight end just couldn't make the reception. Third and 10, you're in 2-down territory. You need 5 yards each time. You don't need it all.
Jennings wasn't even looking at the ball. Favre had to let it go, and by the time he looked, it was behind him.
There's a miscommunication. Jennings is out here to the left, and he's just not on the same page as Brett Favre. He runs an inside slant. He's going deep. The ball clearly is outside him. He's not quite sure what's going on here. Just a miscommunication.
And this could be for the game. 4th down and 10. Driver's in the slot, goes to the backside. That's too high. And that's it for the Pack. A great start, but it's going to end 7 points away. A look at Brett Favre's numbers on the day. We mentioned that he went over that 300-yard mark. 3 touchdowns and the 1 interception. That I guess if you want to go back and nitpick a little bit, you could say that was the difference.
Well, it was a huge interception. They were down there in the scoring zone. It looked for sure they had points, and the Saints come back and really score off it. So it was a huge turnover for Brett Favre, but he certainly threw the ball much more effectively this week than last week.
Look at the upcoming games for the Packers. They will go to Detroit next week and drop to 0-2, while the Saints, believe it or not, will go to 2-0, and we'll have a huge game next week at home in their home opener against the Atlanta Falcons. As we talked about earlier, they are very close to selling out for the entire season.
Well, it'll be a great game in New Orleans. The city will be so excited, the Superdome being fixed up, and the Saints 2-0, and Monday Night Football, and it's going to be a good homecoming for them.
And it could be the first sellout in the franchise's 40-year history for the entire season. And that was good news for owner Tom Benson, who, of course, at one time like last year this time in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, admitted to harboring some doubts about his hometown's ability to recover from Katrina and support an NFL team.
You know, I think if you're a Packer fan, Ron, you look at the season ahead, Brett Favre doesn't have a lot of weapons. Donald Driver certainly put on a good show today, right? Ahman Green didn't have his best game. But if he can come back and really play better, I think they've got a chance to have a good year. They've got some talent. They've just got to put it all together.
And that'll do it here in Green Bay.